clickbait me on Texas Frisbee. I see you. Okay, so let's go round 3 with round 3 here. The Ur Dragon, yeah. Okay, hand looks reasonable. Can set up my auger with Brainstorm, can filter my hand with Brainstorm. Kind of slow. Might be dead. I pointed out in round 1 that this was not a good matchup, because this is pretty much assuredly going to be Boggles, and we don't have any way to interact with them. Yeah, I think I'm just dead. Like in game 1s I can't really raise them, and I don't interact with them, and then post sideboard I have like 2 Electrickeries, no, just 2 Electrickeries, and like my counter magic to counter their auras, so can pretty much concede match already. This is the worst nightmare that you can run into with this deck. I'll try fighting on just to show you, just for your amusement, I guess. But I don't really see a lot of hope. I guess my biggest hope would be to assemble Ghostly Flicker really quickly, but there's not even like a defensive element that I can flicker. Like in Familiars, you could like keep yourself alive with the life gain engine and then mill them out with an alternative win condition, so that you don't really care about the Armadillo Cloak. And in like a Tron deck, you could constantly recur Moment's Peace, but here, like, even while I'm flickering, I only get to cast like 1 or 2 flickers a turn, and they don't do a lot to keep me alive. So yeah, Boggles for the blue-red deck is just completely atrocious. I would need to have like multiple additional pieces of hate, and I'm not even sure it's worth investing any kind of thought into. Like, you would need Swirling Sandstorm to slightly improve it, but even then you are way too slow to fill your graveyard, so it's not necessarily going to be that card is very unusual. I just want to counter anything basically to slow my opponent down, but yeah, I mean, it's not good to counter. Okay, super dead. Could have waited for another Ethereal Armor, but like, I think I'm not really winning here. Even if they don't cast the Ethereal Armor into my open mana, they can just wait until the turn where I'm tapping out. Yeah, with Delver you can potentially Spellstutter to sprite them out. But yeah, with control decks, I don't have a clock to raise them, and I don't have nearly enough interaction to deal with them, so just very hopeless situation. At least I had pointed out this fact previously, so I'm not just looking like I'm whining about the matchup because I lost. It's literally like a worst nightmare. I don't know. Make some random changes, pretend like any of these creatures can block, but the Dispel is probably useless. Gorilla Shaman beat down to raise them. So there's probably like mulligan to 4 that can still beat me. So I'm not even sure what I'm rooting for them to stumble. Like, they would need to have either no creatures in their first 3 or 4 opening hands, or fall short of any of the toughness pumping enchantments, and then I end up drawing Electrickery before they get their creature out of range. Get lucky with Electrickery is indeed my best hope. Like, get lucky with Electrickery and then quickly set up Ghostly Flicker shenanigans. Like, Electrickery there their first creature or their first few creatures and then keep enough counter spells open for them to never get back onto the board. That is indeed the plan. Guess I should have an upkeep stop if I want to brainstorm with Ash Barrens. So here we do have the turn 2 Electricity, so that's already a lot of my game plan in terms of getting lucky. I would want to keep this Ash Barrens for, I guess I can still do that, for Brainstorm, just Brainstorm right away. Get rid of this Lightning Bolt. And then either Island or Razorfin, because I want the unfair, it's not even that unfair, but like the combo elements of Seagate, Ghostly Flicker to set up a potential win on my side. Okay, I'll get rid of the Razorfin. Like, I'm unable to cast Electricity here during my opponent's next turn, but I can untap and do it. So I'm super vulnerable to them going 1 mana Boggle plus a toughness pumping enchantment though, so that might be something that backfires on me, but once again I do need to get a little bit luckier to have a chance. Yeah, if they go Boggle plus some kind of Umbra or Ethereal Armor or something, I just die on the spot. That would be pretty funny. Not certain if it's worth playing around that. My backup plan would be to just cycle the Ash Barrens and not Brainstorm, so that I have Electricity, like 2 mana open for Electricity this turn. Okay, so ended up working out for me. Okay, kind of lost track of all the commander discussion, but I think you can entertain each other, right? Rancor. Yeah. I think I'm fine with Rancor. Like, I could blow up the Rancor, but I want them to overextend more onto the board so that they can't follow up with another Boggle. I'm even willing to take a little bit of damage here. This might be greedy. But it's much better for me to Electricity at end of turn than it is to Electricity main phase. Because then, like, they can just have a second Solana Ledgewalker in their hand and recast it after my Electricity, even if I go to 17 here or something. If that buys me a full turn of no creature being on the board. That makes it a lot more difficult for my opponent to rebuild their board. Also, I can Archaeomancer back the Electricity, though then they would keep their Boggle in hand until they can immediately pump the toughness of it. Donald K. Magic, thank you for your follow. Surprised you weren't following yet. I've seen you around quite a bit, but yeah, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so that worked out pretty nicely. Assuming there's no Slippery Boggle Gladecover Scout follow-up immediately. Though I did bait out another aura from them. Wow, this is amazing. I mean, could still go wrong if they have another Boggle and then another thing that pumps toughness after I Archaeomancer back my Electricity. I think I'm willing to just Brainstorm for no value just to get it out of my hand because there's so much pressure on my ability to spend mana here. Like, I'm going to be busy doing things for quite a few turns. Tube Steak XXL, thank you for your follow as well. Okay, so I think getting back the Electricity is still worth it, even though my opponent has the capability of playing around it. Like, okay, that's nice. So no immediate Boggle follow-up. And then, yeah, if they don't do it this turn, it becomes a lot more difficult for them to play around it. I want to combine Brainstorm with Seagate, but then I lose my ability to cast Electricity, so that's too risky. I can't do that. Evil Wilds goes with Brainstorm, but I think untapped land is still more important so that I can double flicker. I think now I might actually be winning, because I can Electricity their next creature, and then I can flicker to Electricity their next creature after that, and they didn't have one. So like, unless there's some kind of big threat, like an Aura Knowledge or something, that I'm unable to deal with my Electricity, I should be locking the game up here. And I just get to end of turn flicker the Seagate twice, so I'm drawing like 2 cards with buyback. So yeah, I mean, I saw some lists running like Dispel or something off of these splash lands. I've seen stranger things happen. This feels like a pretty great spot for me. Okay, so Get Lucky with Electricity plan has worked once so far. Or at least it seems like it's working. Second Electricity, not actually much help. Though I can set up the Seagate Oracle trigger with Brainstorm during the next turn, so I at least get rid of 1 bad card. Okay, that was pretty fortunate. Let's try that again. It's much harder to do when I'm on the draw, and they can potentially slow roll their Boggle until they immediately pump the toughness. It's possible I just want... Wait, didn't I board this Arc Lightning out? I thought I did. Well, I guess I wanted to keep it in the deck as a burn spell, but that seems highly suspicious. I think even relics are like better. They can deal with Young Wolf, though I'm not certain my opponent would have any interest in having those in their deck. And also they just allow me to cycle. And I think like when there's only 2 cards in my deck that truly matter, cycling for 2 mana might actually be a relevant ability. And the deep analysis seems too slow. But yeah, I guess I'm just mulliganing to Electricity and then hope my opponent has a non-functional hand themselves that can't play around it. Because Electricity into Archaeomancer Electricity does have some promise to it. But yeah, if an opponent had just had a second Boggle in their hand after they lost their first one to the first Electricity, we would have just ended up losing there. Okay, so no Electricity and no playable lands, so this is a definite mulligan. Like, there's a lot of matchups where I would keep this, but I think I'll mulligan again. I mean, 5 card hands are not great, but it gives me a slightly better shot at Electricity than this. If I had a blue source here, then I would obviously keep and just try to preordain into it. That gives me a good amount of looks. Well, this has to be better than a random 4, but it still probably gives me like a 10% chance of winning or something. Let's bottom this. Once again, there's like only 2 cards in my deck that truly matter, and some cantrips to find those. Could just die on turn 2 here. If they go turn 1 Boggle into give it more than 1 toughness, that's how badly my deck is configured against this. Yeah, and like there's answers. You can play Curfew. You can play... Isn't Aura Flux in Pauper as well? I think so. Though I don't think it's a particularly great answer. Yeah, you can play Aura Flux. You can play Curfew, which bounces a creature for both players. Which is actually pretty nice because you can reuse your own creatures while bouncing theirs, but you need to reduce them down to a single Boggle beforehand. And if they just have a plant token or a second Boggle or something chilling around, then the Curfew isn't even guaranteed to answer the one that they have put enchantments onto. Then like Swirling Sandstorm can sometimes work, but their creature outgrows it in size pretty quickly and you don't have enough ways of filling your graveyard. So none of the plans are particularly promising, so I think just sacrificing this matchup and hoping to never get paired against it is the best approach, even though it looks very disheartening whenever the matchup actually does come up. And we're dead. Well, yeah, that was a no Lich today. No Lich ever. Well, I guess there's a Lich in Dominaria, a new one, but this is not a Lich stream. Well, as I said, pretty bad matchup, just hope to dodge it. And yeah, this is the one downside.